I really do love this game, but there's a massive problem that I know a lot of us who play this game can relate to. Don't you think that nobody communicates with one another? Compare this to a game like Squad or even Postscriptum. Now, games when people talk in Hell Let Loose can be incredibly fun, but they are rare and almost never happen. I know you will see videos on YouTube and be like, wow, this looks so cool. I'll let you into a secret. Those YouTubers like me as well will play for hours and hours over a period of weeks sometimes to get good footage. Personally, I was trying to record a cool video showcasing the new map, but I realised almost nobody communicates, which makes the games boring and dull. Something really needs to change. So in today's video, I will try and offer some good and realistic changes to fix the issue, and also look at what Squad does so well and what Hell Let Loose developers can learn from that. Because for me, until something drastically changes, I can't yet recommend it. For sure, there are some awesome moments to be had, but you will find yourself getting bored running to only get shot and find yourself with nowhere but the HQ to spawn at. Because most of the time, there isn't even a squad leader to put down an outpost, because usually they will just leave when they realise nobody is listening to them. For starters, Hell Let Loose is just far too complicated for new players and players in general. You can tell nobody has a clue where they are going and what they have to do. A lot of engineers, for instance, don't know they have to put nodes down, which help give the team fuel for tanks, manpower and munitions for using artillery. And how can you blame them if there is a bunch of new players coming to check the added content? They aren't going to be aware of the meta of the game because there isn't anyone to guide them. The squad leader is the most important role that determines how much fun you have in the game. So one change that needs to happen is to give the squad leader the ability to change the name of their squad from the generic name that they get given, which is Baker or maybe Alpha, to something like Microphones Only Squad. I'm telling you, this would make a massive difference, and it's so easy to implement. For example, the squad leader would lock this squad, and when the player joins, and if they don't have a microphone, they're kicked from the squad. It's that simple. Because if you don't want to use your mic, then what use are you to the team? Most of the time, people like that will just run aimlessly around. This would therefore group together players who have a microphone and want to try and communicate, and even if you have two full squads talking, that's better than having none effectively communicating. This would help improve the experience for everyone. And eventually it will create a community like Squad has, because at the moment there is no real sense of community for Hell Let Loose, but it's such an integral part for any hardcore shooter. This is an absolute must change that should be added in the next hotfix. It's that important in my opinion. The next thing is that squad leaders need to be given more power, and also the game needs to be streamlined. So in the game right now, power is split between a lot of different roles. Engineer has a lot of abilities, for instance, like building sandbags, barbed wire, nodes, etc. But players who pick this almost never utilise their abilities, because right now players aren't communicating and helping each other get to grips with the game. However, giving things like sandbags and barbed wire and maybe nodes to the squad leader role would improve how a game runs. Most of the time, more competent players will take a squad leader role and will usually know what to do. This would help take some of the weight off the other players to focus on just capturing objectives and killing the enemy. Like someone said to me today, you can't make players do something they wouldn't usually do. That's so true. If players wouldn't usually worry about something like that, then they're not going to do it. It's far too complex and overwhelming for players who are just hopping in. And because of this, they're just leaving and coming back for the new updates. Also, for players that don't like talking as much, squad leaders should be able to place move markers on the fly, and they should see an alert message on their screen, so nobody's confused on what to do. That way, other squad members know where and what they need to do. On the topic of UI changes and small graphic updates, I'm not sure about you guys, but I feel that there's a lot of players that don't even know where the capture zone is, either because they're not checking the maps or that the UI right now does a poor job of explaining it. So I think they should add maybe an actual flag on the point that needs to be captured. If not, then give a map to everyone's loadout and put maybe a red circle around as the cap radius, because people at the moment just aren't getting on points. I should be able to say get on the point and people to know what that actually means. I think really though, players don't always know what to say and they need someone who will guide them, and they will start doing call-outs and talking a bit more. It's not that nobody has a microphone, because that's just bollocks. If you have a £1,000 PC to run this thing, I'm sure you can afford a shitty microphone. People just need to feel comfortable talking with each other. But if nobody is talking, they just won't say anything. That's where the microphone only squads would come in, or maybe tactical squads. Something to let people know that you guys will be communicating and not just running around solo. Because it doesn't make sense in a 100 player hardcore shooter. There's too many mechanics in place that require effective communication. We just need some small tweaks to help realise the potential of this game. The game is getting better and better with every patch. For example, in the next update we'll get better audio and animations which will help improve the experience. But still, if this issue does not get addressed, then forget all the changes you're making, because they will mean absolutely nothing. Overall though, if there isn't any changes made to making communicating easier, then this game will lose players. The only hardcore shooter to really keep a solid player base is Squad. So really take some note from that game. It's simple but hard to master. The game doesn't try to complicate things. If you know how to play an FPS, then you'll get to grips with that very fast. They have also built a great community which helps with the new players that they do get. In squads, I never have any trouble finding a squad without someone talking. So it's not the people, it's unfortunately the game. Thanks for watching. Shares, likes and subscribes are really appreciated. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, and I feel the developers need to address this head on. Until next time, have a good one.